Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for another video. It's that time. I'm going to do some college football predictions. We're going to be looking at our non-top 25 matches. We have our top 25 video just came out 2 days ago. Make sure to check that one out. But just because you're not in the top 25 does not mean the matchup does not matter. We're going to be looking at those non-top 25 ones, breaking them down, trying to predict the outcome, the winners, the losers, the final scores, and we'll also be taking an in-depth look at our best bets. Money lines, spreads, over-unders. First things first, though, guys. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Drop a comment below. Let me know what you think. What are your predictions for this weekend? Leave it in the comment section. If you want to sign up for one of our member teams, check out that pinned comment down below. Click on that link. You can sign up there, and I would appreciate it. Let's not waste any more time. We have some really good games, some teams that are just outside of the top 25 that are probably going to find themselves ranked by the end of the season. The very first one we have, we're going to be looking at our Friday night game, 7:30 p.m. on ESPN. The 1-2 Tulsa Golden Hurricanes versus the 1-1 Oklahoma State Cowboys. Their last game was that game where they got completely abused, completely curb stomped by the Oregon Ducks. Well, they lose that one like 69-3. It was a blowout. They've had a week to think about it, lick their wounds. Mike Gundy here. Where's this team going? Good coach, one of the longest tenured coaches in the country, gets a lot out of the talent of his team, but this roster here, obviously, a lot of issues, especially at the quarterback position, but the Cowboys heavy favorites here. 82.6% chance to win Tulsa, 17.4. Oklahoma State, 11.5-point favorites, 54.5 over-under. They're minus 429. Tulsa's plus 328. Tulsa's averaging 24 points a game, throwing for 217.7, running for 183.3, giving up 23.3 points a game. Maybe this is the opportunity for the Cowboys to get that offense back on track. Cowboys, 15 points a game. Got to get that number up. 149.5 passing yards, 135.5 rushing yards, giving up 38 points a game. But obviously that's a little bit of a construed number because they gave up 69 to Oregon, so that really blew that number up. But that was the last game. Left a really bad taste in your mouth. Looking at these two teams, obviously Flores for the Cowboys, 2 picks, no touchdowns. Got to get that back on track. It's all going to start with the run game. Hicks running the ball. Open up that play action, get physical, lean on this Tulsa team. Tulsa can honestly pull off the upset here. Cowboys haven't looked good so far, but give me the Cowboys, Mike Gundy to get that second win. They win this one 32-27. And our very next game is also a Fox game at 8 p.m. on Friday night. The 2-1 Iowa Hawkeyes. Kirk Ferentz team, he now what? I think he just set the record this past weekend for most wins in the Big Ten. It was like 207 win. Props to him. One of the longest tenured, if not the longest tenured coach in the nation. Just think how many wins he'd have if he didn't run a 1930s offense. It would be crazy right now. They'll be on the road versus the 3-0 Scarlet Knights. Obviously, this is a disciplined team. You have an old school coach here, Greg Schiano. They're going to be physical. They're going to play trench warfare. But Iowa, they can line up with anyone. They live in the trenches. It's going to be a trench warfare matchup. Who's going to have the most depth? Right now, Rutgers, 57% chance to win. Iowa Hawkeyes, 43% chance. Fans are leaning Rutgers. Vegas leaning Iowa. Hawkeyes, 2.5-point favorites, 46.5 over-under, which is actually very high for an Iowa game. Usually it's like 5 or 10. It's sometimes better to watch paint dry than watch the Hawkeyes. I hate to be so critical of them, but for Christ's sakes, you got to get the offense on track, man. Right now, Iowa, minus 137. Rutgers, plus 116. The Hawkeyes, 31.3 points a game, but obviously that's a little blown up with the bad teams they played. They played Albany. They played UMass. They're throwing for 121.7, running for 214, giving up 10 points a game. Iowa always has a top 10 defense, always have top 10 special teams. They have elite defense. If they could just have a top 80 offense, this would be a playoff caliber team. Rutgers, 46.3 points a game, but they really haven't played anyone. 296.3 passing, 164.7 rushing, giving up 19.3. It's hard to grade these teams. They haven't had a tough schedule so far. This is their first really tough matchup outside of obviously Iowa playing Iowa State. Very close game, very physical game. They lost that one, but they put up a lot of fight. That's always a very fun game to watch. I would love to see the Hawkeyes win. They're a fun team here in theory if they can move the ball. They just never move the ball. Right now for Iowa, obviously, Gronowski coming over as the quarterback. He was supposed to completely change the offense, bring it to the modern day. Maybe they went from 1930s to 1940s type offense, but Kirk Ferentz, they're going to run. They're going to suck up the clock, 10 to 12-minute possessions, drain the clock, completely own the quarter. Rutgers wants to do the same thing. Raymond right now, almost 250 yards on the ground. Kyle Manis right now, 820 yards, 7 touchdowns. Rutgers is actually a really difficult team. They might be able to pull off the win here. But I'm going to go with Iowa, just the suffocating factor. Give me the Hawkeyes to win a very low-scoring game. They win it 24-17. And now moving on to our Saturday games at 12 p.m. on ABC, the 2-1 Arkansas Razorbacks coming off of putting up a tough fight versus Ole Miss. They lost that one, but Taylor Green, he continues to impress, throwing the ball, running the ball. They'll be on the road here versus 3-0 Memphis Tigers. Very interesting road game for Arkansas. Memphis isn't a bad team. They beat Troy last week 28-7. They beat Troy worse than Clemson beat Troy. You got to respect Memphis. They're actually a pretty good group of 5 team. Memphis, 40.3% chance to win undefeated. Arkansas on the road, 59.7. Memphis would love to get a win here versus an SEC team, but the Razorbacks, 7.5-point favorites, 62 over-under. They're minus 291. Memphis is plus 234. Tigers are averaging 37 points a game, throwing for 202.7, running for 218.3. Very balanced on the offensive side, only giving up 11 points a game, only 69 on the ground. Their goal, shut down the Arkansas run game, force them into third and long situations. But that's going to be a lot easier said than done because Arkansas, Sam Pittman here, you have one of the better offensive minds. You got Bobby Petrino calling plays. They are loaded on offense. Taylor Green, 900 yards passing, 11 touchdowns, 2 picks. He has 307 yards rushing. Blake at wide receiver. A lot of weapons. They're averaging 47.7 points a game, throwing for 324, running for 245, 550 yards of offense per game, giving up 20.7, and that's with an SEC in conference play game. Give me Arkansas getting back in the win column. They're just an outlier just outside of the top 25. Keep an eye on Arkansas. Whenever they lose games, they're usually one possession, very close games. I have the Razorbacks winning this one 38-20. On ESPNU at 12 p.m., the 3-0 UNLV Rebels. How about Dan Mullen? I love Dan Mullen. Offensive genius. He's going to get the most out of his quarterbacks. Whatever his skill set is, he will adapt the play calling to the players on the team. Gotta love it. On the road here versus the 0-2 Miami, not Hurricanes, the Red Hawks. Right now, Miami 36.7% chance to win. Rebels 63.3. Rebels are 2.5-point favorites, a 50.5 over-under. They're minus 131. Miami of Ohio plus 109. You know what Dan Mullen's going to do. The team kind of sloppy start to the season. Defense highly questionable. This was a pretty good team last year, but Dan Mullen, as they're getting more set in this system, more of a foundational piece there. They're averaging 35.3 points a game. Throwing for 228, running for 201, very balanced, giving up 25 points a game. The defense is starting to play better. Got to work on that secondary, though, giving up 279 passing yards. Got to lock down the secondary. Ohio, 8.5 points a game. That's not going to cut, especially versus a Rebels team that's averaging just under 40. Throwing for 167, running for 75. They got to get those stats up. They haven't even really had a rough schedule so far. They are giving up 31 points a game, 223.5 through the air, 163.5 on the ground. To me, UNLV. Caldrea at the quarterback position, just under 700 yards passing. Thomas, almost 300 yards rushing, only 3 games in. Finn, very tough position for Miami of Ohio. 3 picks, 23 of 41, 55% completion percentage. That's not good enough to get in a shootout. Give me the Rebels. They dominate this one. Their offense carries the day. They win 42-21. 12 p.m. on ESPN, 2-1 Syracuse Orange. Fran Brown, obviously, this team won 8 games last year, led the nation in passing. Kyle McCord, all those wide receivers, they're all gone. They had to replace them. They brought over Angeli from Notre Dame. They're actually doing really good on offense. A little bit of a new team here, but as they're getting more set game by game, starting to score some more points. Defense, though, a lot of question marks, but thankfully for them, they'll be playing 1-2 Clemson Tigers. Their offense has looked atrocious to start the season. What the heck happened to Clemson? Top 10 team to start the year. Now they're outside the top 25. Dabo's going on TV, speaking gibberish, not answering questions. Still, great coach, great team, top 10 overall talented team. The talent is there. If they want any type of shot to make the playoffs, any type of outlier shot, they have to win out. They have to get that offense on track. Right now, Clemson, 80.5% chance to win. Syracuse, 19.5. Tigers, 17.5-point favorites. 55.5 over-under. They're minus 806. Syracuse, plus 554. The Orange, 39.7 points a game, throwing for 379.3, running for 106.7, giving up 29.7. This is the defense for Clemson to finally stretch their muscles on offense, get some things oiled up. Year 3 with Garrett Riley. Klubnik last year, 36 touchdowns, 6 picks. He's taken some steps back this season. Talented wide receiver room, 0 running game. They have to get that run game going. Get that play action going. Allen as the D coordinator, they can only hold the opposing offense at bay for so long. At some point, their offense has to get first downs. They're averaging 19.3 points a game, throwing for 211, running for 108.3, giving up 19 points a game. I have Clemson's offense at least scoring enough today, slowly working their way back up. They are a second half team. They start to climb back up today. They win this one 34-20. And under the radar, very, very fun game. ESPN2, 12 p.m. 2-1. The SMU Mustangs coming off a playoff appearance last year. Rhett Lashley lost some pieces from last year's team, but Jennings is back at the quarterback position. Dual threat quarterback, throwing for just under 900 yards. He can also take off. He can run the ball. You need those legs. Third and long situations, third and short, you have to keep your eye on the quarterback. They have Harden, Romello Brinson. There's a lot of weapons on this team. Rhett Lashley, he's been recruiting. He's been working the portal at a very high level. Very talented overall roster. Sloppy last couple 2 weeks, but you know the talent's there. They're an outlier to still make a run at the ACC. They're going up against TCU. You have Sonny Dykes, Rhett Lashley. Both of these guys have coached at SMU. Very similar tree. Sonny Dykes, one of the better offensive minds in all of college football. Just like Rhett Lashley, Hoover this season, having a great year, picking up right where he left off last year. Almost 700 yards passing, 6 touchdowns, 1 pick. Through only 2 games, so he's on pace right now to probably throw for around 4,000 yards this season. Barnes in 2 games, 156 yards on the ground. Dwyer, 230 yards receiving. TCU, one of the better offenses, definitely representing the Big 12. TCU, 67.4% chance to win. SMU, 32.6%. The Horned Frogs, 7-point favorites, 64.5 over-under. TCU's minus 256, SMU plus 207. The Mustangs, 38.3 points a game. You know that they can move the ball. 278.7 through the air. 156.7 on the ground, giving up 23.7, giving up about 320 yards through the air. I don't like that number because don't forget Sonny Dykes, they run the air raid to get the ball to their playmakers in space. They're going to throw it up and down the field. They'll be gunslinging the whole game. You got to get that secondary on point. TCU, 45 points a game, throwing for 322.5 points a game. Like I said, your secondary, they better be disciplined today, and they're running for 193. Sonny Dykes runs the air raid, but they do not forget about the run game, and they're only giving up 17.5 points a game. Really good numbers, but now the schedule starts to get a lot more complicated. But I'm going to ride TCU here. Give me the Horned Frogs pulling away with the win, but it's a close one. They win it 33-28. And now some Big Ten versus Big Ten football. NBC, 12 p.m., 3-0 Maryland Terrapins versus the 2-1 Wisconsin Badgers, coming off of a throttling at the hands of Alabama. But Wisconsin, Luke Fickell, this is not a game that they can afford to lose, or the seat's going to be very, very hot for Fickell. They have to win these lower-tier Big Ten games because the schedule's not easy. Badgers, 69.1% chance to win. Maryland, 30.9%. Wisconsin's 10-point favorites, 44.5 over-under. Maryland, 34.3 points a game, throwing for 266, running for 116.7, giving up 11. Defenses look pretty good, but this is obviously the hardest game they've played. Wisconsin, 24.3 points a game, throwing for 196, running for 136.7, giving up 16 points a game, and that's including a game where they gave up 38 to Alabama. So their defense has been very disciplined. You know what Wisconsin used to be able to do? Running the ball, a great offensive line, great defense. They need to get back to those basics. I think they have just enough to pull off the win here, but I honestly think it's close. Maryland, keep your eye potentially for the upset here. Badgers win 27-21. ESPN2, an ACC versus ACC matchup. A battle for the Carolinas at 4 p.m., 3-0 NC State Wolfpack. What a pretty good start for them. Obviously, the coach, you want to get things back on track here. Started out last year, top 25, fell off early on with some question marks at the quarterback position. This team, in their situation, not a bad team, but get back to what you used to be able to do well. Really good physical defensive front seven. They'll be on the road here first. 1-2 Duke. Duke's kind of had a little bit of a letdown to start the season. They lost last week. That was not a good loss versus Tulane, giving up way too many points. They're giving up 32 points a game. Manny Diaz is the head coach, defensive-minded guy. You had a top 25 defense last season. Get back to those basics. You brought over Mensa at the quarterback position. Actually having a pretty good start so far this season. Almost 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns, 2 picks. The rest of that offense needs to step up to help him out. Right now, Duke, 49.7% chance to win. NC State, 50.3%, so practically a 50-50 split with the fans. Duke is 3.5-point favorites, 57.5 over-under. They're minus 170. The Wolfpack plus 141. NC State, 31 points a game, giving up 24. Duke, 30.3 points a game, throwing for 352.7. They've been chucking the ball up and down the field, but that's because they've been behind. I don't want to see Duke have to throw for that much. Get that number down to about 270. Get the rush numbers up from 126.7 up to about 150 to 160. And they're giving up 32 points a game. I don't expect that to last, especially for a Manny Diaz team. Give me Duke winning this one 33-20. And how about this next matchup, Big 12 matchup? This one has shootout written all over it. Fox at 7:30 p.m. The 2-1 Arizona State Sun Devils on the road versus the 2-1 Baylor Bears. They had that loss week 1. They have not looked back. This offense, they've been rolling, running this air raid. Robertson, he has been going off this season. Almost 1,100 yards, 10 touchdowns, 2 picks. If they could win the Big 12, he might insert himself into the Heisman conversation. But Big 12, a lot of really good teams at the top. Baylor, 53.7% chance to win. Arizona State, 46.3% chance. This is a team, they made the playoffs last season. They lost Cam Scadaboo. They have to replace that production. Someone else has to step up in the running back room. Sam Levitt, kind of off to a sloppy start, but you know the talent's there, especially if they turn things up. Arizona State, though, they're the underdogs. Baylor, 2.5-point favorites, 59.5 over-under. The Bears are minus 130. The Sun Devils plus 110. Very close game. Sun Devils 30.7 points a game, throwing for 175.7, running for 232.3, giving up 19.3 points a game. Brown right now almost 300 yards rushing. Sam Levitt 527 through 3 games. That's not going to cut it. You got to get that numbers up. A efficient run game should help open up that play action. Tyson back this season, over 300 yards receiving. The rest of that wide receiver room, though, you guys got to step up. Baylor, 38 points a game, throwing for 368.0 yards per game. A top 3 overall passing offense in college football, running for 149.3, giving up 30 points a game. They are getting scorched point-wise, especially on the ground, 188.3 points a game, which is good for the Sun Devils because they're running for about 230. Both teams can attack the other's weakness. I think it's going to be a shootout, probably going to go down to the fourth quarter. We've seen Baylor lose a fourth quarter game. We've seen them win it. Give me Baylor here. They win it 37-33. 3:30 p.m. on Fox, the 2-1 North Carolina Tar Heels. You got the GOAT himself from the NFL, Bill Belichick. I don't know what to make of this. I personally was not a fan of them hiring him in the offseason. The guy's about 89 years old. I think his time has passed him. He is the GOAT from the NFL, but it's hard to make the jump from the NFL to the college ranks in your mid-70s. Kind of seemed a little odd, especially to fire Mac Brown, who's the same age, to bring in Belichick, but that's a whole other story. Anyways, they'll be on the road here versus 2-0 UCF Scott Frost. Scott Frost's first season back at UCF. Are they going to win the national championship? Probably not, but they'll crown themselves no matter what. Right now, UCF 83.2% chance to win. The Tar Heels a 16.8. The fans are not giving UNC a shot here. I definitely think they do have a shot. Right now, UCF 7-point favorites, 47.5 over under. They're minus 258. The Tar Heels plus 210. UNC 25 points a game, giving up 19. The big issue here is consistency on the offense. They're only throwing for 148.7, running for 130.3. I want to see the offense have some type of identity. Are you a passing team? Are you a run team? Are you a bounce team? Or are you just not able to consistently move the ball with either? Because that's really what they are right now. UCF Scott Frost, you know they're going to be up tempo, spread, they're going to move fast. He's trying to resurrect what he started back in the 2017 to 18 time period. They're averaging 42.5, throwing for 259, running for 232. Very balanced on the offense side, only giving up 8.5 points a game. But this is the most difficult game that they would have played since the Utah game. They lost it, but they put up a fight. I think they have a little too much firepower here. They win this one 28-17. Fox Sports 1, 6 p.m., 2-1 West Virginia. Rich Rodriguez is back, but he has to completely flip this roster, get things back the way that he had it back in the early 2000s. Sometimes it doesn't always work the second time around, but good luck to him. That would be cool to see the Mountaineers get back on top. They'll be on the road versus the 2-1 Kansas Jayhawks. Very competitive game versus Missouri. They showed their chops. They can compete with teams, very talented teams. Jalen Daniels back for his 35th year of college football practically. Kansas, 80.6% chance to win. The Mountaineers, 19.4. Kansas is 13.5-point favorites, 55.5 over under. They're minus 498, plus 372. West Virginia, 28.7 points a game, but it's Rich Rod. You know they're going to move the ball. They're going to be fast. Can they punch it in, though? Throwing for 223. Running for 213, giving up 14.7. Pretty solid numbers. Kansas, 36 points a game, throwing for 248.3, running for 166, giving up 18.7. I love what Kansas does with 3 stars. They adapt to the playmakers on the team. They get the most out of those 3 stars. Give me Kansas getting the win here, but I think it's a higher scoring game. They win it 31-24. ESPN Plus, 12 p.m. The 2-1 South Carolina State Bulldogs on the road versus USF Bulls. 2-1 coming off that loss to Miami. They got booted out of the top 25. I don't think that was fair for them to get kicked out. If they win this one, get back to 3-1. Some people have them as the front runner right now for the group of 5 for the playoffs. Put these guys back in the top 25. They beat in Florida. They beat Boise. Right now, UCF a 97.8% chance to win. South Carolina at 2.2. UCF, this is a FCS game, so we won't have any spreads till the day of, but I think USF getting things back on track. Brown running the ball, throwing the ball. The defense gets things going. They win this one 38-17. And at 10:15 p.m. on ESPN, the 2-1 Wyoming Cowboys, they hung around with Utah for the first half, lost the second half, but they got out-physicaled second half. They got wore out, but they showed a lot of fight, especially first half. If they can somehow get an early lead, maybe they can hold on to it. They'll be on the road versus the 1-2 Colorado Buffaloes. This is Deion Sanders' team. Not the best start so far, but obviously they were going to take a step back. They lost Travis Hunter. They lost Shedeur Sanders, having to replace a lot of pieces. A lot of questions at the quarterback position. Staub, Lewis, they've been shuffling quarterbacks. Staub didn't necessarily play good last week. They lost that one to Houston. A little bit of a higher scoring game. Colorado, you cannot afford to drop down to 1-3. This is a rebuilding year. You need to get a strong foundation. You need to build up the depth. Get at least 7-8 wins this season. That would definitely help you recruiting-wise. Buffalo's 85.7% chance to win. Wyoming 14.3. Colorado 13.5-point favorites. 44.5 over-under. Wyoming only 15.7 points a game, giving up 12.7. It's their defense. Very competitive defense. Do not underestimate them. They're actually a very competitive Power 5 team. You definitely don't want to visit Wyoming, but thankfully for Colorado, they'll be coming to Boulder. Colorado 23.7 points a game. Throwing for 210.3, running for 124, giving up 23.3, but they're giving up 204 on the ground. Don't let Wyoming drain the clock and run the ball. Colorado, they have no identity on offense. It's going to hold this team back, might keep them from being competitive, might keep them around, trying to struggle to get to a bowl game this season. But with Lewis, with the 5-star quarterback on the roster, at some point he's got to take the reins. Maybe it's this season. Give me Colorado winning this one 32-20. And our final game we're going to look at is a battle for the state of Washington. CBS, 7:30 p.m. The 2-0 Washington Huskies. This is their chance to get to 3-0. They're repping the Big Ten here. These are old Pac-12 rivals. Pac-12 has been dissolved. Washington would love to beat Washington State one more time just for the heck of it, but Washington State would love to upset Big Brother here, especially for leaving them in that dissolved conference. They want some revenge. Washington State, 6.6% chance to win. Washington, 93.4%. Huskies, 19.5-point favorites, 52.5 over-under. They're minus 1,316. Washington State, plus 780. Washington's averaging 54 points a game. Props to Jed Fish here, getting the most out of this team. Throwing for 265, running for 303.5. Where did this offense come from? Right now, Coleman about 300 yards rushing through 2 games. That's 150 yards rushing a game. They're giving up 15.5. Washington State, 19.7 points a game. Throwing for 225.3, running for 68.7, but they are giving up 27.3 points a game. They got scorched last week versus North Texas. They lost 59-10. That gives me absolutely zero confidence here, especially on the ground. Washington should be able to dominate this game through the air and in the trenches. They win it 38-17. Guys, that's our breakdown for our non-top 25 games. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you have any comments, by all means, drop them below. Do you agree? Disagree? Let me know what your thoughts on these games are. Let me know what your picks are this weekend. Drop it in the comment section. If you want to sign up for one of our member teams, check out that pinned comment below. Click on that link. You can sign up there. I would appreciate it. And of course, as always, thank you for watching.